All right, awesome. Welcome everyone. We have a very interesting topic today that I'm sure we are all very excited to start hearing PK with. I am a relatively new person in coaching myself. So when I was speaking to PK and then we looked at the business of coaching and I was chatting around, I think all of us are at various stages of our career would also absolutely still love to know more about how do we scale our business? How do we make coaching sustainable for us in the long run? What are the various elements of our business that we are currently not optimizing possibly? So I know we have several range of experience in this room, and I know PK with his wealth of experience will tailor it to the needs of all of us here. We all know PK Narayanan, but to give a really quick introduction to him, PK, after over 3 decades of experience across several leadership roles, today as an executive coach, PK works extensively with leaders and businesses and helps them scale up their businesses and their organizations. And today he is perfectly poised to kind of get our thoughts on how do we scale up our businesses. And without much ado, PK, I'm going to hand over to you. I know you don't need any introduction more to the coaching fraternity, and we're going to maximize all the time that we have with you in truly examining our own businesses. Over to you, PK.
Thank you, Jayashree. Happy to be here amongst you today. And we have experienced coaches here from different cities. We have, maybe we also have coaches who are into coaching for 2-3 years. And we have beginners, maybe we have also some coach trainees. So it's nice to be amongst you this evening, and the way the next 60 minutes is structured, probably there is something for every one of us, and we can consume the content. We can consume the content as it suits our context. So my request to all of you will be to consume it as it suits your context individually. This is about business of coaching. So there is not much about coaching, and now this session is not for coaching. So this is primarily for business of coaching. So I would like it to be kept that way. And there might be questions. So I would request you to hold on with the questions till we finish my initial thoughts. Probably we have structured it 30 minutes for me to just share some experiences, some thoughts, what I have seen, learned, and probably which could help some of us. And then we have equal time for question answers at the end. So we might have a more interactive, more personalized question answers at that time. So I would request you to just hold on with your questions. And the approach here that I am proposing to take is to create, or how to create, a sustainable and long-term coaching practice. So whatever I am going to share with you is to share thoughts on how to create a sustainable coaching practice, which can be sustained, grown, scaled up as a coach. And one more aspect when we discuss this is, these are my personal views. There is no right or wrong. It's not that all of us need to grow. We can position, we can pitch our coaching to the levels that we want. Therefore, there is no right or wrong. But what may be appropriate, for building a sustainable long-term business. In the process, I may be using some of my examples which are relevant to my practice. That is not to highlight something about my practice, but to relate it, how you can relate similar context, similar examples with your practice. So I just want to make it clear that whenever I take some of the examples, it is just to create an experience, an example, so that you can create relevant examples for yourself. With that, shall we go into the content? Am I audible enough, Jayashree? I mean, is that okay? Yeah.
Absolutely, PK. Go ahead.
Okay.
And folks, please drop your questions on chat. PK will take it up in the end.
Okay. Has the screen moved for all of you? Yeah, great. So a research report that appeared a couple of years ago, a research report, global report, suggested that 3 to 4% of coaches, it was about coaching business. So only 3 to 4% coaches are successful globally. And the same report brought out that only 19% coaches see year 3. Whoever is starting the journey as a coach, only 19% see the year 3. Last year, the ICF Global Coaching Report, I think this was 2020, it said that only 7% of coaches do coaching only globally. The rest 93% also do training, consulting, counseling, etc. So the only coaching coaches were just 7%. And one of the reasons that the other report highlighted as why coaches are struggling to be successful, by and large, one of the key factor is not having a niche or lack of niche. For those coaches who have an aversion for the word niche, the segment that we want to serve, I would like to call it more inclusive, that the segment that the segment that we want to serve. So what is the good news? The good news is that we can change all of this. That is a big good news. When we look at coaching, one half of my coaching practice is what I am and what I do. The other half is what others see. This is my coaching business. One half is what I am, what I do, and the other half is what others see, what the world sees. When I talk about my business of coaching, now when I convert my coaching practice into a business of coaching, what I am and what I do, they don't change overnight. But the significant change that happens is what others see becomes what prospects see. Here, you have a huge difference. And according to me, this is the difference between coaching practice and business of coaching. What others see becomes what prospects see. So we will see how it happens. So if we relate it, generally there is an internal thing and there is an external thing, like any other business. So the coaching skills, the certifications, the process, the lifelong learning attitude that we have, all of these are very individualistic and very personal, on which we have taken certifications and we have polished our coaching skills and all that. But I need to tell you, this remains mostly, by and large, below the surface, not visible, unfortunately or fortunately. When I bring my specialty, my experience, my expertise, what I love doing, the specific segment out of the 750 crores that we have in the world, the specific segment that I can relate with and I can understand, when I bring these things, when I integrate my when I integrate my coaching skills, certifications, processes, lifelong learning, and as what makes me as a good coach, in terms of process. When I add to that my being, that is my specialty, my expertise, what I love doing, what's my passion, which is the segment that I can relate with, which is the problems that I can solve, and what is the solution that I can help my clients make or find. When I combine these two, I start becoming visible to my prospects. I start becoming relevant to my prospects. I start becoming appealing and also beneficial to them when I start working with them. So let me explain this a bit. If I set up my business as appealing to everyone, it appeals to no one. This is an established marketing principle that, age old. Coaching may be coaching, but business of coaching is not very different from any other businesses. This is what I wanted to highlight, that coaching is not what we sell. Coaching is not what people buy. Coaching is a process after all. People want solutions. And to become that, we need to bring ourselves into the coaching practice. So while at that, I wanted to highlight three major things that probably give us some clarity as we move forward. One, these are the three things that really matters when we set up our coaching business, when we approach it as a business of coaching. There is some noise that I can hear, and we request everyone to please make yourself mute. That will help me to focus. Thank you. So what matters is, number one, people don't buy coaching. They are looking for solutions to their problems. Whatever way, whichever way the coaches are coming to us in teams or individually, they are struggling with something. They are stuck. They are confused. They are looking for getting unstuck. Yeah, they are trying to sort out some of their problems. That's what they are looking for. They don't buy coaching. They don't buy training. They don't buy consulting. They want solution. This is like saying, in like any other business, coaching is an internal thing for us. Yeah. So it is internal. It is a process. It is the approach. It is the method by which I am trying to help my clients. The client is not interested in knowing what I do. This is the what matters number two. This is another important aspect that we need to understand. People are less interested in knowing what I do. They are interested in knowing what they get as a result, what they can get from me, what they can get out of this relationship, what they can get out of this engagement. I have seen many of us in our pitching deck, in our pitching deck, in our websites, we go further to, we go to an extent explaining what is coaching, what is the difference between coaching and training, what is the difference between coaching and consulting. Yeah, there is no right or wrong about this, as I said in the beginning. But in my experience, no clients are interested in knowing what is coaching. In my experience, no clients are interested in knowing what is the difference between coaching and consulting. For a person going for a coach training, it's very important. But as a client, they don't want to become coaches. They are looking for solutions. So very important for us to understand that what we need to disclose, what we need to pitch, and what we need not is very important. In that sense, what matters is that the small face time that we get, or the little attention span that we get of the client, how to use it better, is why I am highlighting this. What people are looking for is for solutions, and people are less interested in knowing what I do. They are interested in knowing what I can do for them and what they get. The third very important aspect is that if we want to do coaching as a business, This is purely for people who are looking coaching as a business. If we want to do coaching as a business, we need to bring our expertise, our experience, our skills, our passion, our personality to drive the business. Coaching is a process. Certification is global. We shouldn't be commoditizing it. So if the coaching, is what we are selling, anybody should be able to win clients, and that's not happening in our experience. So what is that X factor? Why some coaches get business and some coaches are not able to? One of the reasons may be that they are selling coaching. So this is why I want to highlight that we are not selling coaching as a process. We are selling a solution. The approach to find that solution is coaching. So when I say all these, you might be wondering, am I doing coaching at all? And this is just to clarify bringing clarity to that doubt that I do nothing but coaching. I do coaching. But am I selling coaching? I am not selling coaching. So what I am selling is that if you are a CEO stuck, not knowing how to scale up your business, you have been successful, you have grown to some 15, 20 crores, but you are struggling you are seeing the glass ceiling, you are there in the orbit, stuck for some reason or the other, and you want to go to 100 crores, 200 crores, I can help you. Yeah. So when I say that, I'm not selling coaching. I am really addressing the issue, the problem that a set of real people face in the world. There is a huge population of MSME entrepreneurs who are successful initially, but they get stuck after 10, 15, 20 crores and they are profitable, but they are not able to grow to 100, 200 crores because that takes a different level of inputs, a different level of being as a CEO, as a business owner. And that's where I am coaching them, for example. And again, another aspect here is that we don't need to coach the entire 500, 750 crore people to become sustainable coach. So we need only a handful of coaches at any point in time. So when we approach the business of coaching as where we have the passion, where we have the experience, where we have the specialty, where we can relate with and connect with, and most importantly, whether this segment of people will be able to pay you the fees that you are expecting, viability, financial, economical viability, whether this, I have great passion for BMTC drivers. I want to coach them. Nothing right or wrong about it. And they are a segment which is identifiable, which they have their own challenges. But probably if my viability or expectation is at that level, we need to cross-check that whether that population will be able to pay the kind of fees that I am expecting. This is the last check that we need to do with respect to any of the coaching area that we choose. So now coming to this, step by step, how I can build my coaching business. Next couple of slides, I'll just, share some of the thoughts at how step by step we can build our business. The first and foremost is to finalize the niche or the segment that we need to serve. Here, my experience is that the smaller you keep the funnel mouth, the better. Because if we keep the funnel mouth very large, we might have a feeling that a lot of people are entering the funnel, the business development funnel, I mean, but many of them will get stuck inside the funnel because it has a large mouth and a very small throughput. So we don't get the benefit. We don't get enough conversions. And we confuse the public also as to who can be served better by me. The smaller the funnel mouth, the better. So how do we find it? These are just examples. In my case, I address MSME business owners, CEOs who are between 15 crores to 60 crores, wanting to go to 100 crores to 600 crores. This is my catchment. It's very clearly defined. And it might, early on, you may have a feeling that, are there enough? There are enough. In my experience, there are enough. And will they catch me? For that, I need to help them. So if they need to find me, I need to help them to find me. So when you have a segment identified as small as possible, you can strategize your business development, marketing, how to reach them, etc., with that more focus, and you will find them and they will find you when they are searching for you. As much as we are searching for clients, even the clients are searching for coaches. This we need to understand. The marketplace is not that only we are searching for customers. Even the customers are searching for a right coach. So to get found or to help them to find us, we need to help them to find us. So in that, this is very important. We build our niche, or we identify the segment that we want to serve very clearly, very sharply, as small as possible, so that we get the throughput. Whoever enters, more or less, whoever enters the funnel mouth would have been through the pipe as well. Now, this is the most efficient use of our time, because we don't have time chasing so many clients. So we can use our time, energy, bandwidth far better, and our resources far better when we keep our funnel mouth small and then make sure that most of them go through. The conversion rate will be higher, the conversion speed will be higher, we can add value better. So finalizing the niche segment is the first and foremost. There are different ways of finding one's niche. That's a content for another session probably. Then the next one comes business name or a personal name. Many of us have chosen to set up our practice with our personal name, pknarayanan.com, for example, in my case, or Scale Up with PK, which is very personalized. So business name means you will have to promote both, or depends on the context. So depending on your area to serve, your segment to serve, one can decide whether you should have a neutral name or you should be doing it in your personal name. Having a clean, clear, decent website, whichever way you are getting the leads, whichever way you are getting either through network or friends or clients or whatever references that you are getting, whichever way you are getting the leads. The second thing any prospect does is to go to the net and check your digital presence. So that has become like sort of second identity. In a way, that has become a sort of second identity for us. So we can't neglect that. For a serious contender, we need to prove to the world, or we need to assist the world rather. Yeah, we need to assist the world to understand that we are a serious contender as a coach. So having a clean, clear, decent website, clearly articulating who we are and what they get from us if they interact with us, goes a long way in helping us establish our credibility even before they speak to us, even before we speak to them. The next is a formal email ID. Gmails, Hotmails is not right or wrong. Nothing in what I'm saying is right or wrong. It is just a perspective and just an appropriate way that I think businesses should be set up. So pknarayanan.com, for example, a domain-specific email ID will go a long way to put an impression on the other side that I am a serious business guy. So having a formal email ID establishes our credibility a bit more. It all is done in stages. A stranger, if they have to come and approach you for coaching, they would have done their homework, and they are also being, moved stage to stage, building a trust or confidence on us. So it is a stage-by-stage process, getting a referral, and then they go and check the website, then they access your email ID. So step by step, unknowingly, unconsciously, some trust and confidence gets built. And that's very powerful, and that's very important for conversion. Some basic stationery, well made. The idea here is that it needs attention. That's why I'm just highlighting. So a well-made stationery, today it is mostly digital. So having a good, letterhead to send out proposals, having a good proper invoice format, and impressive. I'm not saying that you overdo, but have decent presence in terms of collaterals and stationery, and a clean, sharp LinkedIn profile. This I am putting as a LinkedIn profile because we are relating with corporate clients for most of us, but it's LinkedIn or similar platforms. So if I'm going to deal with all the air hostesses who are flying domestic routes in India, so I need to figure out what is the platform that they are using, and I need to be there. And that way, BMTC drivers or interstate bus drivers or pilots or advocates or chartered accountants, these are all catchments actually, doctors. So we need to have a clean, sharp profile in whichever platform that they are using. Or if I'm going to do with teenagers and young adults, having a good Insta, platform or a similar one. So having a clean, sharp dash platform profile is extremely important so that we get noticed, or when they search, we are found. And when we are found, we create an impression. It is a stage-by-stage process. Start blogging. I cannot overemphasize about the importance of this, because blogging is essentially sharing your ideas, thoughts, and giving some solutions to common solutions that they are facing. And it's very important that you identify the segment that you serve while blogging, because your blogging style should be consumable to the segment that you are serving. The approach that one size fits all will not work, because coaching business is a business. Yeah, in a business of coaching, we cannot take an approach that one size fits all. It's a formula for failure. So we need to tailor make. We need to create customized, tips or customized blogs for the segment that we are serving. So identifying the segments to serve helps us do everything that I am telling you, because that will give you the focus as to how to blog. For example, my blogs are 20-second read. It is only 2 or 3 sentences each blog. It is condensed. It takes time. But the point is that the average attention span of a CEO that I want to reach is 7 seconds. So I cannot have a 300-word blog, because it will miss them, or they will miss it. So the blogging is tailor-made to the segment that I am servicing. If some other segment, or for example, academicians, all the professors, my segment is professors in universities, blogging has to be according to their taste. So it is not about our taste, it is about our prospect's taste that we need to serve. My videos, again, are between 1 minute and 1.5 to 2 minutes. It's not that I like it. It is the way my prospects like it. Yeah. So start blogging is another very important thing, so that you start appearing as the person to go to. You start appearing as the person to go to for their solutions over a period of time. And that's how the traction happens. Yeah, it's a process. And a well-made pitch deck, we discussed about that, to the segment. So our pitch deck shouldn't be to the 750 crore people of the world. It needs to be to the segment that we are addressing, whichever small that may be. The smaller, the better. Because if I have a 500 numbers, I will get some 5 to 10 that I need at any point in time. So have some perspective as to how to shoot. The days of carpet bombing are gone. It is the surgical strikes. It is the times of surgical strikes due to various reasons. Now, having done all that, how to get business? End of the day, we need to build numbers, isn't it? The fastest, easiest, the low-hanging fruits are always work from network, known sources. All of us have worked enough years somewhere before, putting the hat of a coach. So from our network, known resources, access that. The next, the low-hanging fruits, is referral from friends. Just ring up any friend for that matter. Hey, by the way, I have started my coaching business, and this is the segment that I am serving. If you know somebody, aged between this and working here and struggling with these kinds of problems, refer me if you know someone like that. That's all it takes. So they will refer you. Yeah. So that is the referral from friends. Referral from clients, when you have picked up few clients, you can just ask them. There is no shame in marketing. There is no shame in sales. We as coaches are now different. We have to sell ourselves. So just ask the coach at an appropriate time, not immediate. We shouldn't be looking desperate. So towards the end of the engagement or wherever you feel comfortable, you just ask him, hey, by the way, do you know someone who requires similar help? Please feel free to refer. I would be happy to serve them. So these kinds of conversations we shouldn't be shying away from. And referral from clients, this is the third lowest hanging fruits to build clientele. Then once you are serious, once you are consistent with your LinkedIn, Facebook, or similar whatever other platforms that are more suitable to your segment that you are serving, that will start feeding you trickling leads over a period of time, because that is through influence. So you are positioning yourself as the person to go to when you have a problem like that. So you can create that influence through your digital platforms and digital presence, and the leads start following through. Up to here, almost all of them are free, only requires effort from us. When we come to this, once we have exhausted or exploited all these things in a manner in which we think is appropriate, we can go to more sophisticated ones through SEO, for example, digital leads through SEO. Search engine optimizations, what is your segment people searching for? This is another reason why you need to have a niche. Whether you like the term niche or not, why you need to have a segment of people targeted. This is the reason, because you need to have some common search words that they employ when they want to find a coach, and you need to be there when they search. It is not just push. In business, it just doesn't work just by pushing ourselves. There needs to be the pull from the market. And for creating the pull, we need to help them to find us. So if commonly accessed search words, in my case, some 3 or 5 to start with, then slowly increasing to 8 or 10 search words, then 15, 20, yeah. Scaling up business, coach for scaling up business, coach for growing business, CEO coach. These kinds of words I had definitely focused early on, and have a leadership position when you search it. And then city-wise. So initially my geography focus was Bangalore, then Chennai. So I added many more cities, and today I have clientele from across the country. So all this is possible in stages. So SEO is very important. If you have leadership in around 10, 15, 20, depending on the market that you serve, the common search words that you employ, I think you are doing well. I think that will create a consistent flow of leads from strangers, because you are influencing through multiple methods. Before they see you, before they speak to you, they almost know about you. And that's what happens with me. Anybody that I am talking to, they already know what I am, who I am, and what I do, and what they get. Then our conversation is very quick to a conversion. Then you can also spend money on digital ads. There is no end to it. And speaking PR, paid PR, most of the PR is paid today. So all that can be accessed. So to consolidate our thoughts and to come to some kind of seriousness in what we do, probably these are some of the things you can think through. There may be more, but these are the ones that I have seen helping really well in setting up. And by the way, this is my 10th year as a coach. Having an email ID, pk@pknarayanan.com, that is helping us. Definitely having a domain ID makes the other side prospects think that I am a serious contender. Having a website, clean, sharp website. Having a blog to share my thoughts, to help them even if they are not paying clients. Every prospect will find some value in my blogs. So that's fine. I'm adding value to them, whether they are a client or not. Having an FB page, Facebook page for me in my business. Facebook is the platform and LinkedIn is the platform that my prospects connect with. So CEO Coach PK is my Facebook page. That helps. So we can set it up there and share more and more content that are relevant to that group or that prospects. Again, not for the CEOs in my case, not for the IBMs and Googles, and no. For MSME, that is between 15 to 60 crores, those CEOs, what they are looking for, I will be relevant by posting those kind of material or content. Having a sharp LinkedIn, having a YouTube channel, really the video consumption is on the rise. So any segment that you are serving, video channel will help you. Podcasts, Anchor, I think they are taken over by Spotify. It doesn't matter, it still is available free. So having a podcast channel helps because some are podcast savvy. So essentially here, those who are blog savvy, we should service them. Those who are video savvy, we need to service them. Those who are podcast savvy, we need to service them. We should be present. We shouldn't be missing when they are looking for something. So it is less of my choice, it is more of their choice. In business, that's how it is. In business, it is customer choice. It's not what I can give, it's what they want. Medium, where I can put articles. Of course, the blog in my own website, I can put articles, but the footfall will be limited. Medium is frequented by many more people. So putting some articles there can create that much more identity or footfalls. All this doesn't mean that I need not be myself. I have a Facebook, my personal page where I can be myself. Also, people should know what I am before they trust me with their business or with their life. They need to know who I am. So my Narayanan PK is my personal profile where I also talk about my hobbies, my music, my travels. So the authentic me is visible and it is on the open. So nothing prevents us from being what we are by doing all this. All these are priority, but it doesn't prevent us from doing that. And for clients and very, very close group, we can have a Facebook closed group so that we share something relevant to the people who are really close to the business. Having an office, established office, this really has paid me well because right from the beginning, I have been a Regis customer for the last 10 years. Now Spaces, their premium product. So why office? The office means that we are there on a daily basis and people know, prospects know that I am a serious business guy. I have an office and I'm investing in my office. And office also is a good place to coach, where we can sit in privacy and the environment. We can create the environment that we want. And all my clients come to my office if they are based in Bangalore. If they are outside, they come once in a while to Bangalore for the sessions. So that gives them a different experience away from their office, which is a big thing for my coaching practice. And more than that, before engaging, it gives them a feeling that I am a serious player. So it increases the credibility, the trust factor. And search words and my travel Facebook page, touring with PK or touringwithpk.com. So just to conclude, my message or my learning is that to establish a business of coaching on top of me as a coach, there is no relentlessness in becoming a better and a better and a better coach. There is no two questions about it. Coaching skills, certifications, process, lifelong learning needs to be at its best that I can do. On top of that, I add myself, the specific, unique, personal me, with all my specialty, expertise, and my love, my passion, the segment that I relate with, the problems that I can solve for them, and the way I understand that segment. When I build that on top of my coaching skills, which are below the water mostly, then it becomes visible and I become visible, and what others see transform itself into what prospects see. Only when we pitch our business in a manner in which my business is visible to prospects, it becomes a sustainable business. Thank you. And questions, and I would request Jayashree to help me with questions that you may have.
Sure, PK, thank you for so many nuggets of wisdom shared today. Would you like to stop the slide share, PK? And maybe you can.
Of course, yes. There you go.
All right. So there have been a couple of questions that have come to me, and but I'm going to start with the question on the chat. And while I take that up, I invite anyone else, if they have any more questions for PK, to please put it down on the chat. So, so we talked about credentialing as one of the things that you had talked about, right? So the question is about what is the relationship between the various levels of credentialing and the business potential of a client? How important is it to be a PCC or an MCC and not just, let's say, be trained in coaching and get an ACC? Any trends, any study on that you have had access to, PK?
I have not had any, study or research reports that I have had access. But in my view, ACC, PCC, MCC, to a large extent, it depends on what the prospects want. I think if the HR of a company is looking for shortlisting coaches, definitely these certifications are one of the search criteria for them to be included or excluded or considered. But when you are looking at the large blue ocean of underserviced, unserviced coaching arena, such as doctors, advocates, chartered accountants, businessmen, which are my segment, MSME. Though they are not large corporates. Of course, I service the large corporates on leadership presence, which I didn't talk today. But that segment is limited, and that is purely for leadership presence for CEOs, CXOs of large companies. That has a different funnel for me. But by and large, for my MSME, which constitutes around 70% of my business, they don't actually worry about my certification or my credential. So I would say the informed searchers will look for informed searchers. What I mean is that HR departments and the companies or coach aggregators, they will be definitely looking at the levels. But in my experience, who wants a solution and who is paying, they just don't bother about your certifications. But does it mean that you don't need to have certification and you can start coaching? No. I don't support that view, because coaching skills, coaching core competencies, especially the ICF ones, I really respect that, and it adds a lot of value. It is just like, you can learn driving even without a license, but having license helps.
That's beautifully articulated, Narayan. Thank you so much, PK. So there are several questions coming on niche. Can I bunch them up together for you, PK?
Oh,
I think that seems to be a very hot topic. So, some of the all right. So, what people would like to know is that how do we select a niche? At what stage in our career should we shortlist a niche for ourselves? The dilemma being that if I choose a niche very early in my career, am I narrowing my market? And how should one choose a niche? Based on one's expertise, based on what the market needs? So let's start with that. There are a couple of more on
the answer is niche. The answer is in the question itself, part of it. When do I start looking for a niche, or when should I acquire a niche? In my view, day one. Because if you are trying to be appealing to everyone, you don't appear to be appealing to anyone. This is a universal truth. And everyone wants specialized service in this world, currently at least. Therefore, the more you can position yourself, why are we underestimating our power? Why are we underestimating ourselves, given situation that I will fail if I choose for some niche? Why can't we think that I will succeed in the niche that I choose? One. Second is that, it makes your BD efforts, your marketing effort, your positioning effort easier, because you need to be appealing to only a section of people that you identify yourself. No one is forcing upon you. It is your choice. Third, if you are starting a business, let it be any business, retail, manufacturing, services, BPO, any business. If you are a businessman, wouldn't you have chosen where to play, how to play, where to position yourself? How different is coaching? This is one question that I would really want every one of us to answer. that why are we looking at coaching in a compromised way? It's a business. If we are approaching it as a business, I'm saying, many of us do coaching at the, there is no right or wrong here, but we pick up coaching as some, after some time, money is not I have heard many coaches saying money is not a parameter for me. That's fine, nothing right or wrong, absolutely okay. But I am a full-time coach. I took coaching as coaching to make to earn. I'm quite open about it, right? So 10 years back, when I chose business of coaching, I am happy that I looked at coaching as a business for my journey, at my context. It was very, very relevant that I looked at it as a coaching, as a business, because I was a serious business. I was in serious business of coaching. So when I look at business, in any business that you start, won't you have a niche? So why are we doubting when we start a coaching business? Because there is a myth that coaching is neutral, coaching is non-directive, therefore I can coach anyone, right from my housemate to Prime Minister of the nation. It may be theoretically right, but whether you will get paying clients with that profile is what I want you to think through. That is the myth I want to challenge. Whether you will get paying clients when you keep your funnel mouth as big is the question. So you mentioned as part of your question that narrowing down, will it reduce the flow? That is the purpose. The purpose is to reduce the flow at the funnel mouth. Because any businessman will say that I cannot handle, as an individual, I cannot handle, for that matter, more than 10 prospects at a time. So I don't want 100 prospects. I don't want. So it is about, matching the throughput. So if we keep like, it's an approach, it's our choice. There is no right or wrong. There is a, veil approach where you keep your mouth big open, and whatever comes in, you once in a while close your mouth and consume. That is one way of hunting. Another way of hunting is like dolphins. They find it and they just go and get it. So for a business, you cannot be taking chances like a whale. You need to be like a dolphin, targeting. It is like our well understood surgical strikes. So if you need to do surgical strike, you can't do it everywhere. You need to be selecting your area to play, and you need to have a differentiator in that area. You need to be adding clear value to the clients in that area. You need to be solving a problem that they are facing. You need to be empathetical to them. You need to be compassionate with that crowd, and you need to be very, very clear in approaching them and getting, being appealing to them and getting attention from them. Then only you have a business. Then only you have paying clients.
It was beautifully articulated, PK. Surgical strike versus carpet bombing. So I think that's the analogy that I'm taking back. And I think you also answered another question which had come up, which is that in my quest to find a niche, can I try different niche? And I think I'm taking back the analogy that you had given, is that's akin to me saying, can I launch several products one after the other and then say, which product should I make my business in? So maybe to do the research, find what's the calling, and just plunge into one area that works for us. I guess that's what I'm taking away.
Okay, so one of the ways you can find your niche is to invest some time, maybe a month, in articulating what's your passion and what you love about, and what is that you relate with, and what is the problem that segment is facing. Do some research, do some real crunching, number crunching as well in terms of viability, and then go and sit with 5 or 6 people from that segment. So when I have chosen a segment as CEOs, business owners, go an appointment, make appointment with 5 or 6, because definitely when I'm choosing, at least 5, 6 people in that segment I should be knowing. Yeah. Then I go and sit with them, fix up an appointment 1 hour, ask them what you find in me that would encourage you to trust me with being a coach. Take some inputs from those 5 or 6 people known to you, but you keep your relationships away and try to engage on a non-judgmental discussion as much as possible, so that they give you your strength and where they have doubts and where they have, they are seeing the, light. Come back, crunch that again, and that will give you some confidence to start. And then build up the practice, step by step. And if your viability is there, very rarely you will choose a wrong niche. Most of the times you may pivot a little, you may go to another orbit in that same segment, or you may approach it in a different way, but totally changing the direction, I think it is like any other business. How many businesses start as a food processing business and changes itself into automobile?
I think Johnny expressed it well: prototyping, test marketing, and then launching.
Absolutely.
There are a few questions on, sorry, PK, continue.
No, as coaches, we cannot be devoid of these age-old principles that Johnny is highlighting, because we are playing with our life, right? When it is a business of coaching, we want it to succeed. So we won't leave any stone unturned in our quest for establishing myself as a good coach and creating the market for myself. It's like any other business. It's like any other business. Business of coaching is not different.
There's some questions on scaling up, PK. How does one move from a single coach offering to, let's say, team of coaches, or building a business with multiple, team members, and somewhere along the way, about platforms of coaching that are available, aggregators of coaching. So when one looks at scaling up one's business, what are the steps, or what is the right time to move from, a single player to a setup for oneself, or collaborating with groups of coaches?
I really like the last point. Yeah. So we have great opportunity to collaborate, because not only for the same segment, but also for the different segments. Yeah, same segment client may require a help in some other area that we are not working on, so we can collaborate. That opportunity is there. Now, thinking about when to expand is like any other business. So you take a call like any other business, that my prospects are more, my funnel mouth is capturing the right kind of clients, real clients for me. The throughput I am not able to handle. I want to work X hours a week. I am working 1.5, 2x, 3x. That is the time you will add one more person similarly equipped or in the same range with similar priorities in life. So is it very, is it linear, or is it as easy as a BPO business, or even as a KPO business, or any other industry, put one more plant when the product is selling more? It may not be as easy as that, because ours is a service and ours is a process-oriented service. So the process, the sanctity of the process, and the level of expectation that our brand needs to hold in the market, we need to be mindful of that when we expand. Jashi, you are on mute.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm going back to what you started with, PK, which is that only 7% of us, derive our business from pure coaching, and most of us multitask between coaching, consulting, facilitating, and others. So I think one of the questions that has come in is that our clients itself, right? Many of them might be expecting us to wear hats apart from coaching, maybe partly consulting, partly mentoring. So how do we navigate that when we pursue building our own business?
Yes, this is an interesting question. So it's a question of whether who can do it better is the question we need to ask. So one of the things that is elementary, or which is integral to building a business of coaching, is to have client centricity. So always we need to hold client at the center, meaning whatever is good for the client, we should be suggesting. So when we have a requirement for consulting or a training, for example, today, I have moved away from consulting 10 years back. I literally pulled down the shutter and opened the shutter on coaching. Very rare and very unique thing that I did, but one decision that I have never regretted. So then first year of my coaching, did I get consulting leads? Of course, yes. Because my consulting was built on 10 years, over 10 years. So I definitely got client consulting leads at that time, which I passed over as friendly references to my friends who are in consulting business. A lot of goodwill that it created. Yeah, even today I get consulting clients. I get coaching clients from, through references in other areas. I refer to other coaches in the fraternity in Bengaluru. I don't take up something that I don't do on a day-to-day basis. So it's essentially the client centricity, that who can do that job better. If that job can be done by someone else better than me, I do that. I do that, meaning I refer them to those people. And I have chosen not to get back to consulting and training or any of that. The training, though, I never did. So I have taken a choice, a conscious choice, that I will not do consulting or training for any of my clients. So always I pass it on to other business service providers. So I am part of that 7% that ICF found. And more people from our fraternity should move there. That is my earnest wish and my genuine concern, because coaching can benefit the world. Why I am feeling more and more people should join that 7% bracket is that not for the love of coaching, but just the fact that coaching can help the world. And the whole world requires coaching kind of an offering. And it is our ability to reach them and help them with finding solutions is what is upon us. Therefore, I wish that 7% goes up.
I think that's what a lot of us coaches in the audience will also wish PK to be inspired by you and be one of those. I mean, grow the 7% to maybe 7, 10, or 20%.
Yes.
So,
one insight here, Jayashree, is that one thing is that we choose what to do. Equally important is that what we choose not to do.
Yeah.
It's very important, because consciously, when you are setting up a business of coaching, you need to clear what you are not going to do. And for me, these things were in my not going to do list, which has made me to focus more on this and make it better and better and better. The normal things that work in the business place, in the marketplace, that competitive advantage, what I can do better, or what my clients get better from or more from me than what they are getting from the market, differentiator, uniqueness, all of that work on coaching also. So we shouldn't be in a paradise that, those things are for business. For coaching, it's different. It is not different. So if I can send across one very, very important message through my medium today, it would be that coaching is not different. It is like any other business in the marketplace. So let us approach like any other business that you would approach if you start a business. Therefore, this is important, that what I choose not to do, what I choose not to do.
Thank you, PK. I think that is a very important takeaway that I'm taking for myself, which is be clear about what you don't want to do. And so with that, I have 2 quick questions for you from the audience. And then thereafter, I'm going to announce the next sessions that we have for next Monday from Chitra Ravi, who's here in the audience with us. And post that, I will leave the Zoom open for us to interact. Those of us who want to stay back and interact with you, PK, I'm going to leave the Zoom open for another 15 minutes. Is that fine?
That's perfectly okay. I'm available.
So 2 quick questions. When somebody wants to know what is the book on coaching that has influenced you the most? And yeah, let me start with that.
Can you please repeat?
Is there a book on coaching that has influenced you the most?
$1 Trillion Coach.
I should have guessed something like that. Awesome. Okay, the second question is there any data available on which field of business development expansion, whether between networks, social media, etc., is likely to have more impact? Is there any quantifiable, any data available, which is a better business development tool?
Depends on two things. One, where you are in terms of your coordinate. What are the kinds of relationships, friends, and other things that you have personally. So it depends on your coordinate at that point in time. Second is depending on the segment that you are going to serve. So it depends on these two. What will be most efficient or most effective? Nevertheless, the safe sequence to adopt is what I described.
Okay, so yes, for folks writing in, yes, the video of this will be available. I'll upload it on the YouTube channel of ICF Bangalore chapter. So for now, okay, Lara PK referred to the $1 trillion coach. Do you have the author's name offhand, PK?
It's a book. I mean, the coach name is $1 Trillion Coach is the name, and if somebody else also can tell me about it.
Yeah, we'll just Google and put it down in chat.
Different people.
That's
about
Bill Campbell. William Campbell.
William Campbell, and many people have authored it. I think many people have contributed to the book.
Thank you. So while we'll keep it open for now, Johnny, thank you so much for helping me out today, and you've been our very supportive participant all along, and I'd like to invite you today to share any closing comments that you have for PK, and to thank PK for a truly fantastic session today that he shared from the heart with his personal examples. Can I invite you to do that, Johnny? Sorry, I'm springing this on you, but here it is.
Thank you, Jayashree. I take it a privilege to thank a person like PK, even though I meet him every Saturday for Chai Pe Charcha. I've learned a lot, and I just want to just crystallize two of my learnings. He spoke about BMTC drivers. We don't see them as drivers. We see them as people who take us from one point to another point. And that he brought out so beautifully by saying, clients don't buy coaching, they buy solution. We may be doing coaching, but what they buy is what they get from coaching. We are not giving coaching, we do coaching. So that was very beautifully. And then in the end, to your question, Jayashree, what I got from that response from PK is that there is no mode of transport which is the best. It depends on the context, and therefore the social medium that you choose is depending on your niche, your target segment, and all of that. So it was such a wonderful, I can't realize that we've taken 1 hour already. It just seemed like, so PK, you've actually not done a learning session today. You spoke to each of us through your passion, to our hearts. So thank you from all of us, from ICF Fraternity Bangalore, and from all ICF coaches who are present here. I take this opportunity on behalf of ICF Bangalore to thank you, and also for your graciousness to stay back and have a chat with some of us for a few more moments. Thank you, Jayashree, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you so much, PK, and we are going to be around. But before I close the session formally, we're going to have a very interesting topic for next week. Chitra Ravi is going to talk about working with cultural parent in coaching. So cultural parent is a concept from transaction analysis. And essentially what every culture is characterized by is that there are deep-rooted our own ideas, sets of beliefs, ideas, things that transcend generations, and it influences how we think, believe, and act, right, as a functioning member of this culture, or it could also be an organization. So exploring with this model of the cultural parent offers a lot of potential for us as coaches, both for deepening awareness and also for change and growth. So please join us next Monday. The registration link is on the calendar. The invites will also come on WhatsApp and email tonight and tomorrow. But in the meanwhile, please do go ahead and register for it now if you're interested. Yeah, and Chitra Ravi will be taking a session for us next Monday. And now, thank you everyone for joining in. The Zoom room is open and it's mics on. So whoever wants to unmute themselves, ask anything, share their
Thank you,
perspectives.
Jayshree. Thank you,
Please go
PK,
ahead.
for a wonderful session. I got to go.
Thank you so much, PK, for a wonderful session.
Thank you.
Hi, PK. Thank you, Jayshree. This is Lara. I've been hearing about these sessions, but the first one I joined, and I'm so glad I did because I'm sure I'll join many more. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining in, Lara, and do join us next Monday.
Yeah.
The link is on the chat. I'll reshare the link on the chat because I think it's kind of gone elsewhere. Let me do that.
Thank you.
Jayshree, become the poster girl for webinars. Huh? I say webinars.
Well, I happen to hold that portfolio, Johnny, so you guys are stuck with me. Unless I can have volunteers, I'm please looking for volunteers who would love to.
When I think of webinars, I think of Jayshree now. Jayshree Brigance.
I hope it's a compliment, Johnny. I hope it's not. Oh my God, there
it's
she
a
is
compliment.
again.
It's a compliment. It's
Thank
a
you.
compliment.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very much.
But yes, any of you willing to, join in and pitch in, I would really welcome volunteers who want to kind of join in. I'm sure if more folks join in, we'll have even better speakers and sessions going forward. But
I must confess that you got me converted today, PK. I was not believing in this concept of niche, but I'm a convert today. I hope the government is not listening because there is an anti-conversion bill that is in vogue. But I still want to share this. I'm in the process of identifying my niche, if I may say so.
Definitely 7% will increase.
In fact, for me, that is probably the most important concept that we can practice in coaching, our coaching business. So trying to be a coach to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, to identify that segment and be very sharp with our positioning is a great way to stand out from the crowd, as it were.
Runal, please go ahead. Runal and then Lakshmi have their hands raised.
Thank you, Jayshree. Hi, PK. So good to be here with you on this session. So wonderful to hear what you shared straight from the heart. It was so much valuable, picking up a lot of things from here. A question to you is just a curious question. If on this journey of when you shut down your consulting and started coaching with so much of determination and focus, is there anything which was a turning point for you in the profession of a coaching, when you took that business of coaching? Anything that comes to your mind which was a turning point for you?
See, the turning point was in 2009, 7 years into coaching, consulting, 6 years into consulting, the kind of change that I was looking for to make those businesses was not happening because the learnings were not so much internalized to the CEO. Still a similar problem or some, variation of the problem happened, they were coming back and I was wanted. So the solutions remained with us. So I started thinking there must be something that will shift their coordinate, shift their orbit, so that when you change, your businesses change. So with that, I started working on coaching in 2009 and 2013. After three and a half years of homework, I started coaching, and I just January 13. So it is 9 years over, and this is 10th year. Wow. So that was the turning point for me to look at coaching seriously, and did my because the segment was more or less the same that I am covering. Even earlier, it was the MSME segment wanting to scale up. So now also it is the same. Last 20 years I've been in the space scaling up, and even in my 10 years of my job or the corporate life, 5 years with Tata Group, 5 years with the Lend-Lease Group. I was in scaling up those businesses. So essentially, my life is predominantly my expertise, my specialty, my love is for growing, for scaling. So so that's how it became a natural transition as a niche for me because my niche I identified in 2003 when I started my consulting.
Thank you so much for sharing that, PK. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrinal.
Hi, this is Lakshmi Mukavili. I'm also an aspiring, coach. I'm going through my ACC journey right now. So the question I come from a corporate background. I'm actually an MD for a company, and we also are in search for coaches for coaching for our, senior leaders. And like what you said, PK, that we do look for the credentials. Initially, the first time we didn't really know much, but then, now we know, and especially now since I'm also in this business, we actually definitely have an idea. But from your perspective, also, one thing I wanted to know is, does the experience before your coaching matter, and sort of your age also? So basically what I'm trying to say is, does a coach who has an experience of 20, 25 years or even 30 years and then just gets into coaching gets into that cycle of coaching stand a better chance than a person getting into coaching who's, maybe just 30, 32 years? So I just wanted to know your perspective on that.
Lakshmi, do I have permission to ask you a question?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, if Lakshmi, you are looking at, let's say, a common topic. It's not real. It is an art. It's not real. If I may ask you, Lakshmi, you want to enhance your leadership presence, and you are in search of a coach. What kind of coach that you would look at? A 30-year-old or a 50-year-old with 25 years of experience?
Frankly, I would interview both. And, it doesn't mean that a 50-year-old or a 60-year-old, it would definitely be a better coach than a 30-year-old. It all depends on, how, from what type of, from what space they're coming from and what they can give. But, I would look at that way, but I'm talking about generally because that's what is happening in our office. Okay, so I just wanted to know so that I can give them a better view when they actually interview the coaches. So what they're saying is, ma'am, how can a 30-year-old interview, do coaching for a 40-year-old, they said. For a moment, I was sort of, taken back, because they have so much more experience. Yes, I understand they're coaches, but, they don't really have that much of an experience as such in their, careers. So we really don't know how they'll do it. So when it comes to me, maybe I'll interview both, and then, whatever tells me is the right person, I might take. So I actually gave them that, but I just wanted to know your perception also, or maybe if you can let me know something so that I can just, maybe look into that point of view also.
See, it is very individual. I don't think I can classify it as a pattern or a trend. In my experience, people, whether they value age or experience, not that much is my experience, but it is very individualistic approach, like what you chose for Lakshmi today here, that you would meet both of them. I think that is the way market is. Some are like that, some are like this. I don't think I have experienced any particular pattern in this.
Okay, thank you.
It's about the perception you create. That's why it's very important that we have a digital presence, so you can overcome some of these inhibitions that your team has. So if the person who is 30, 32-year-old, through her posts and her blogs and her LinkedIn profile or her sharings in videos and various things, if she has removed the perception that your team is having, she is at the door.
Yeah.
All the more important for coaches to understand that we need to overcome those handicaps.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you so much.
I think we'll take one last question. I think Shankar has been waiting for a while. Go ahead, Shankar.
Hi, PK. Hi, Jayashree. Thanks for this opportunity. My question to you, PK, is I'm actually trying to kind of build that internal coaching business within my company. So I'm just thinking in the sense that building coaching, getting coaching clients within the company I work in. I'm just wondering, how do I apply what you told in this context, or anything specific I need to be aware of?
So internal coaching, when you are setting up internal coaching, you also are saying that there will be a bunch of coaches internally to coach your people, right? Am I right in that assumption?
I am probably the first coach, at least in my company. So I'm looking to coach people and maybe influence other people to get trained as coaches.
So you have your captive audience within the company. So probably what we discussed today here may be a part of your interview manual, that what kind of people should you take into your team. They need to have love for this. They need to have specialty experience, you know, and kind of, so whatever we tried here as a selling considerations, you may have to consider as recruitment considerations. And these criteria you might have to, you know, apply on the candidates who are coming in and joining you.
Okay, actually, my question more was, how do I make coaching see as some necessity within the organization, right? So how do I set it within? That's the challenge I've been facing.
See, I stand with the same, you know, conviction that no one is looking for coaching. I may not be becoming popular by saying this amongst the coaches. The reality, though, need to be shared. No one is wanting or looking for coaching. You don't go to a hospital saying, I want surgery. You are going to the hospital because of a broken leg is preventing you from playing tennis. So the only question you are asking the doctor is, can you make me play in 2 months' time? Whether he does surgery, whether he does something else, how does it matter? So similarly, we have another lens to look at coaching for some reason. That is the myth that I want to remove. If I can do that to an iota, I think this 1 hour is valuable. No one is looking for coaching, so you cannot sell coaching. That is my answer. You cannot sell coaching. You cannot sell coaching as a process. If it is not helping someone's life, if it is not helping someone to better themselves, if it is not helping somebody to bring their potential, if it is not making somebody to get unstuck from wherever they are, and no one is interested. So it is as simple as that. So my little point to ponder for you will be whether to sell coaching or whether to sell outcomes, what they get.
That last part was truly brilliant, PK. I think once in a while, at least I feel many of us need that nudge, including me, that it is not coaching that we are selling. We're selling some solution to the challenges that, or the solutions to the problems that people have. Because I find that many of us get enamored with talking about what coaching is, how coaching is different, and all of that. So thank you for that. Yeah. Awesome. So Shankar, I think there are people on the chat who already offered to support you with how they are doing a coaching poll in their organization. So, and I saw your message. Yes, welcome to ICF Bangalore chapter. We will get in touch with you to figure out how we onboard you as soon as we can. And so thank you so much, PK, once again for such authentic and generous sharing today. All of us, I think, have really taken away several nuggets of wisdom from your experience. And just hoping that many of us contribute to moving that needle from the 7% to, I don't know, much larger. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And
thanks, Jayashree. Yeah. Thanks, Johnny.
See you all.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much. Thank you.